Alright, so in case you're wondering, how I said in the last video I was going to tip the cab up so I can get to the frame. Well, this is what I mean. I just used a come along, unbolted everything from the frame, used a come along, tied it to the frame. I'm replacing all these bushings anyway, so I'm not worried about crushing one side of them, so that's fine. So it's probably about as far as I can go with it. I might be able to get a few more inches, but I don't think that I really need it, because I can get to pretty much all of it fairly easy. Clean it up, and up at the front, if there's a couple of, a foot or two I can't get to, then I'll just tip it back the other way. Using the same thing, just hook the come along back here. Just doing it all by myself, so got to come up with ways to get to things that I'd normally need 2 or 3 people to do. So that's how I'm doing that. So I got these rear frame rails back here pretty much done with the sandblaster. I'll have to get a couple of spots once I cut these pieces out, but other than that, I'm ready to move on to up under the cab, get all that sandblasted and cleaned up. Like I said, I do not want any rust on this thing. That's just a personal preference of mine, I guess. I mean, you could skip all this if you don't care about that, and it doesn't make that much of a difference. I just don't want it. You can skip all this and get way ahead of me. But yeah, I want to do this, and particularly because I'm going to be boxing in this frame, so it's important. I'll be grinding all my welding areas anyways, but still, I just want it all to look nice, be clean. That's my biggest thing, is clean and easy to work on. I don't like working on a race car and getting greasy. You shouldn't get greasy working on a race car. That should be clean. So I'm about to crank up all my shit and get under here. I'm gonna pop some of these lines out. Well, one or two. I think just one left in there. I may leave it. That's the rear brake line. Probably gonna reuse it. Move the wires out of the way. The ones that I'm gonna keep. All I'm keeping is the wires for the rear lights. And that's, I wasn't gonna keep them, but just in case I gotta drive this thing on the street, it needs to have lights. So I'm gonna keep them lights. I'm gonna keep the front lights, but other than that, that's it. Every other wire in the whole truck has come out already, and I'll be rewiring everything. So I'm gonna get to sandblasting. Just hooked right up underneath the cab. Hooked right to it. Lifted it right up. I mean, it came right up like nothing. Wasn't stuck, nothing. It just came right on up. This isn't doing anything but squashing the bushings. That's all that's doing. Them things will bend back, but I'm replacing them, so it doesn't matter. I'm gonna cut off some of these tabs. I did cut off a bunch of stuff. Here's some of the metal that I cut off of where the bed was, the bump stops. Just metal for some brackets that I'm not gonna be using. So anything that I'm not gonna be using, I'm cutting off for, to get rid of weight. And let's see. So I'm still gonna, of course, get this bracket off for the exhaust. Don't need that. Get the old wire looms and line clamps and shit out of there. Clean it up and make this frame a full boxed in frame. And then after that, then I can get the roll cage and start on that.